What's up, Beta Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. I'm your host here, Fareed. As a part of today's video, we're diving into ChainCrib, which is aiming to reinvent how real estate ownership is operating. As a part of today's sit down, I'm going to be joined by a few members from the team. First and foremost, we've got Zetnal. Let me go and bring him up. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Farid. I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Excited to jump into what ChainCrib is bringing into the Cardano ecosystem in terms of reinventing real estate ownership. Now, you're not here by yourself. We're also joined by Izu. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Farid. Hope you're having a good time.
Yes, I am doing well. And last but not least, we've got Brian as well, who's joining us here. So, Brian, welcome aboard. Good morning.
Good morning to you too.
Awesome. So I typically like to kick things off with introductions, and maybe we'll just kind of make our way around very quickly here because this is three people, not just the typical one additional person that I'm interviewing. So over to you, Zetnal. Do you mind kind of introducing yourself, what you do for ChainCrib, and then we're going to dive into the actual protocol.
All right, so my name is Zetno. I'm the CEO of ChainCrib and also a co-founder. I have a background in biochemistry and biotechnology with also experience in web development and design. I also have background in media as well. I have about 5 years experience in digital media and digital marketing. So yeah, I currently lead the ChainCrib team. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Over to Izu.
I am a business analyst in the UK with a robust track record of about 5 years across both the medical, financial, and IT industry, working in green tech and fintech projects on the blockchain. My role on ChainCrib encompasses a spectrum of strategic activities, which includes investigation of operational needs, customer journey mapping, driving process improvement, project planning, and software development lifecycle management. Additionally, I'm proficient in utilizing several industry leading tools such as Jira, BPMN, MS Project, wireframes, and others to optimize business processes.
Perfect. Nice and short. And last but not least, Brian, over to you.
So I'm Brian, 20 years in the IT industry, done everything from software development to managing teams and now running as CTO for ChainCrib. We're developing a lot of things from scratch, and the background that I have in all those different roles and jobs will help us to pick the right technology at the right moment.
Perfect. Thank you all, gentlemen. Again, I appreciate all of your time here. So we're here to discuss ChainCrib. I'm going to quickly jump over to the website, but do one of you mind quickly introducing what ChainCrib is and just sort of the mission behind this particular project?
Okay, so ChainCrib is a blockchain-based real estate investment platform, and we're leveraging the Cardano blockchain to sort of revolutionize the way people can invest in real estate, and we want to make it safe, transparent, and very compliant. So we do this through tokenization of real estate properties. We allow for fractional ownership through tokens that will be created. Now, this, as you can imagine, lowers the barrier for people to invest in real estate. It makes it accessible to a very wide audience, so anyone, anywhere in the world, to a very broad audience, so people can invest. Doesn't matter where they are. So we do this adopting a DAO LLC structure, and we facilitate the tokenized real estate investment and on Cardano blockchain, like I mentioned. So yeah, that's a brief overview of what we do.
Thank you. Nice and succinct. I actually just interviewed the GoKey team, who I believe is doing something very similar. Now, when it comes to ChainCrib, do you mind maybe kind of touching on what properties are eligible, how they're chosen, how they're priced in, and then also, can you maybe give us a little bit more about the actual fractionalization piece? What process or how are you guys going about fractionalizing, and then how are those fractions represented?
Okay, so I'll start with the process of how we fractionize the real estate properties. We do this by forming DAO LLCs. For each property that we wish to tokenize, a new DAO LLC is established in Wyoming. This is because they do have a crypto-friendly legal framework, so we use that. And then the ChainCrib issues governance token for each property that we want to fractionalize, and then the tokens enable the property investors to participate in the decision making and things that are related to the property management. So the capital that we raise from the sales of the tokens is used to purchase the real estate property, and the LLC, the DAO LLC, holds the legal title, while the token holders effectively own a share of the property. That's a fraction. So each property is being managed separately. Property management and decision making, renovations, tenant selection, these are all made through collective voting by the token holders. So each token holder has a right to vote on decisions that are being taken based on each property. And we also make sure that all our operations comply with regulations and all the legal frameworks worldwide. So for the pricing of the properties, we do this through appraisal process. We do leverage both traditional methods and advanced technology to determine the prices of each property. So we conduct evaluations of properties based on different key factors. That includes the location of the property, its current condition, market trends, historical data, and future potential for each property. And we gather this information, and while our experts make the decision, we also integrate a bit of AI, artificial intelligence, into evaluating these properties. Because try to use that to make sense of all the data that we gather. So the AI will analyze vast data sets to fine-tune the assessments to ensure that the valuation is both precise and reflective of the true market value of each property. So basically, it's a blend of both human expertise and machine learning. So that gives us a very precise price measurement of each property.
Interesting. As a quick follow-up there, you touched on the legal frameworks and your collaboration with the state of Wyoming. Again, I think we've seen other similar protocols doing a very similar thing because, as you mentioned, of their crypto friendliness. Now, to that end, are there any properties currently under ChainCrib's management? If so, where are those located? And then approximately how many properties are currently being managed through ChainCrib?
Currently, we are in discussion with a few developers in currently it's in Tanzania, and we are discussing with them acquiring a few properties. We have decided to start with 3 properties, but we haven't acquired any yet. But we're in advanced discussion with them, and before the end of the third quarter, we would have that in place already. Hope to seal that deal very soon.
Got it. I appreciate that. I want to maybe turn it over to Brian or Izu. With ChainCrib and what you guys are dealing with, could you maybe kind of give us sort of what your experience has been like? Maybe talking a little bit about some of the challenges that you guys have faced when it comes to real estate and then fractionalization, and then what you guys have been able to do to overcome some of those hurdles.
All right. So yeah, from a technical perspective, it has been smooth sailing so far because the tokenization industry, of course, is already quite developed. And especially real estate tokenization is very easy to grasp when you overcome the legal complications. Now, the choice of blockchain, of course, comes with a different set of complications, and that means integrating APIs, etc. We have our own development team working on that, and we are very capable of making the right decisions to make it fully compliant with law, user friendly for the users, and also very scalable to the near future. Um, Tell me, what do you want to know about our technology other than what you want
Yeah,
to share.
maybe you can talk a little bit about, how does the actual fractionalization work, the minting process of the representations of an actual piece of real estate. Maybe just trying to better understand that or simplify that, right, for some of the viewers that may not be so technical.
All right. So the actual tokenization of a property, and let's say I always like to use luxurious real estate as an example. You have a home in the United States worth $500,000. And let's say this property is fractionalized. Well, make it easy in 50,000 pieces of $10. There is a small margin for error here, but fractionalized in 50,000 parts. Those tokens get minted as soon as the complete funds are raised for that property, and ownership of the property is then transferred to the LLC that is created for this use case. The seller or developer of this property gets paid, and ChainCrib assumes the maintenance, the management, the renting out of this property. That means that now the tokens represent the ownership of the property. We then have on the portal the peer-to-peer transactions and the voting about what to do with it, as well as the dividends, distributions of the rental income, and in the end of the term, possibly the sale of the property.
So just to make sure that I understand, you mentioned the ChainCrib token being used to represent that fractional ownership. So as you guys are fractionalizing more properties, does that mean that you guys are minting more tokens at the same time?
Every property gets its own token. That is correct.
Okay, got it. I think that was the piece that I wasn't really grasping. Now, with respect to the management, but then also the payout, could you maybe highlight how that portion of the process works from a technical standpoint? Because again, if I'm owner, or if I'm an owner, excuse me, and you guys are able to rent out that property, obviously there'll be a tenant and they're paying, right? There needs to be payments that potentially go towards just maintenance and upkeep. But then a portion of that, I would assume, would be distributed amongst the shareholders invested in that particular property. So do you mind talking from a technical perspective about how you guys go about distributing those assets or those funds?
Well, of course, it is firstly important to note that everything has to happen compliant with Wyoming legislations. So as soon as an address is whitelisted, KYC'd, and AML'd, that means that we know who it is we are dealing with, and we are allowed to have a business relationship with that person. Then we will start distributing the rental income fractional to that wallet address. That also means that the voting can be placed. For instance, if we have with a new build luxurious real estate that is, of course, completely modern. But let's say after 5 years, there is a leakage, there needs to be some maintenance, and we need to make a decision on, do we put in Tesla's newest solar panels on the roof or just wooden shingles? Well, that is a decision that impacts the value of the property. And we as ChainCrib will not make that decision by ourselves. We are just the maintainers, the operators of that building. We are not the owners of that building. So the community of owners will then have a say in what we do as a property manager. And most votes count. It's very democratic here. So as soon as they, with a majority vote, say, we want solar panels, that property will get solar panels, which means that there is an investment to be done in that property. Now, that will come firstly from rental income, so the income of the property will be lower for a period of time, or from a new raise of additional tokens for the same property, where, of course, the current holders of the property get the first right of rejection. If they don't want to put more money in, the open market can contribute to that.
Yeah, thank you. And nice summarization. I want to turn it over to anyone at this point, right, who can probably give us a little bit of an answer surrounding this. But I'm taking a look at the current roadmap and trying to better understand where the team currently sits. Do you guys mind explaining, in highlighting number one, what's already been completed, and then number two, what the next focus is for the ChainCrib team.
All right. So if you take a look at our roadmap, we decided to go with a simple phase modular roadmap because we didn't want to make it too complex. So currently we are in the second phase. We're progressing through the second phase. The first phase was about conceptualizing the idea, conducting market research, feasibility analysis, bringing the team together, and all of that. And we've gone through that phase. And presently, we are deeply engaged in our development phase, and we're developing the platform. Um, Simultaneously, we've also launched a Discord server to build our community. So anyone who's interested can obviously join our server and stay updated because we'll be updating our progress on the server as well as our social channels. So our roadmap will continue being updated as we progress through development, but currently we're developing the platform right now. That's where we are in the roadmap.
Perfect. And I think that actually answers my follow-up question, right? Which was where does the team currently stand? Is their product live on Testnet? Is their product live on Mainnet? Could you guys maybe give the viewers and myself a little bit of an idea in terms of a timeline for when you guys expect for things to be ready?
So currently, ChainCrib is not yet available on either the testnet or the mainnet, as we are deeply engaged in the development phase, as you might understand. However, we are on track to be testnet ready early next quarter, with a target to fully launch the platform by the end of Q3 of 2024. So to support our development process, we have implemented a web-based proof of concept. The POC serves as a preliminary testing ground, allowing us to meticulously test and optimize the platform in a controlled environment. So the purpose of this stage is to ensure that all components operate smoothly and securely before transitioning to the testnet. The upcoming testnet phase is vital to us for identifying and addressing any technical issues, gathering user feedback, streamlining our processes, and creating better usage of our product, and refining functionality to eventually meet the needs of our users, which are our priority in this program. We are dedicated to progressing to a mainnet launch only once we are assured that the platform adheres to our stringent criteria for performance and security, ensuring a reliable and robust service for all our users.
Thank you there, Easy. I appreciate that. I think, again, it's always good to double check, triple check, and quadruple check in the testnet phases, right? As you mentioned, a POC hopefully available to the community soon. If that is available, I'd be more than happy to share that with the community that I have here. I'll leave the links to that down below. We've already kind of touched on the CRIB token. I want to maybe follow up with that as well. When could we expect for the actual token generation event to take place? And then are you guys expecting or planning on executing something like an ISPO in order to raise funds?
So we haven't had the TGE yet, but we are actually excited towards that, and we will be announcing when it will happen in a few weeks. So that's why we created the Discord server, so we invite people to join, and then they can always stay up to date with what's happening. And then in a few weeks, we'll announce the date for the TGE.
Perfect. Perfect. In closing, I want to turn it over to each of the members here that have joined me for today's video to maybe highlight anything that we may have missed, or maybe just raise something that you think is of importance to the general Cardano community. So maybe we can start off with Zetanol first, and then we'll head over to Brian, and then we'll close out with Izu and his closing thoughts.
All right. So yeah, as you well know, the Cardano community is quite different from most other communities. It's I used to always say it's a very scholarly community. You know, uh, so we plan to implement some sustainability procedures going forward in the future. while I didn't mention earlier, but when we're talking about how the properties are being chosen, we plan to place priority on real estate properties that adhere to strict environmental sustainability standards. The world is going green, and it's all about saving the planet and all that. So we want to do our best to make sure that anything that we do doesn't harm the planet or hurt the environment in any way. So we will be placing emphasis and more priority on real estate projects that actually have an eco-friendly uh, concept. Real estate properties that are eco-friendly. So yeah, and also work towards some educational initiatives. Um, you know, educating and boarding both novice and experienced investors into um, the ChainCrib idea and the greater Cardano ecosystem.
Perfect. Over to Brian.
So I think it is very interesting to note that we are still pioneering in the best way to build this type of technology on the blockchain for Cardano. Because while everything looks very simple from the outside perspective, we'll have to tackle a lot of new problems that didn't exist before, like I always like to say it. And we will be building a framework that other people can join and help us with, which is also very interesting to note.
Thank you, Brian. Last but not least, over to Izu.
My colleagues have spoken a lot about what we aim to do, but I also want to buttress on what Brian had said. So we are pioneering in this aspect on the Cardano network, and while our initial focus has been on establishing a strong presence in established markets, we are looking to expand into emerging real estate markets. That means that ChainCrib offers high growth potential and the opportunity to make a significant impact on local housing markets through blockchain-enabled investments, where anybody can invest in real estate anywhere at any time.
Wonderful way to close us out there. I think, again, opportunity, accessibility, these are all things that should be afforded to everybody, right? And the Cardano blockchain allows for us to do that. And you guys are adding to that by making it easier for anybody to participate when it comes to ownership in real estate properties, which has historically been a high barrier sort of activity. So I wish you all the best of luck. And I thank you all for joining me here as a part of today's interview. For the ladies and gentlemen watching at home, if you guys want to find out more about ChainCrib, please make sure to go ahead and check out the official links left down below. I'll leave the links to their website. I'll leave the links to their Discord as well as their Twitter. And then I'll be chatting with the team here following this particular talk to see if we can share that POC. But do keep in mind, do keep an eye out for their upcoming testnet as well as their upcoming token generation event. Izu, Brian, and Zetnal, I want to thank you all here for your time. Again, for the viewers, if you guys did enjoy today's content, I would appreciate you if you could smash that thumbs up. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central and you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions or just want to leave a comment, then make sure to go ahead and do so down below. That said, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video.